capabilities at this his natural expansion. If he tries to expand, tries to build there, those are just going to be fire bats that are going to be able to get a lot of kills. And here he comes again. Lurker is morphing in. Some lurkers are morphing, but these two fire bats are doing a ton of damage again. They finally will go down. One goes down. The second one looks like it's about to go down, but they killed so many Zerglings. Economic, piece for piece, eye for eye. Nada comes out well ahead in that exchange. And Nada is, I'm sorry, Savior is going to be so dependent upon these lurkers coming out. He's not going to have a large link force to really counter any of these units for Nada, as Nada's moving back towards Savior's base. Savior is taking the base at the 12 o'clock main, and that will be very important to him, whether or not he can hold on to that. Nada coming back in here, but he doesn't have any medics, oddly enough. Nada forgetting his medics or just not building any. And he's going to have to wait before he can really push into Savior's base. And now we're seeing some more people very excited to be on screen, as they should be here in the finals. Anytime you're on screen in the finals, whether you're a player or a spectator, is always a great treat. And now a couple bunkers going up at the natural expansion for Nada. And Savior actually going for a little bit of run by, going to get 2 Zerglings by, but that's not really going to do too much. Certainly the reinforcing Zerglings, 1 or 2 Zerglings is going to be enough to stop this. They may actually be able to get an SCV here. Actually, yes, they do get 1 SCV. Maybe get a second one, maybe get a second SCV. Yes, they do get a second SCV, and that should be they do get 2 SCVs there. So good job by Savior, able to get a couple SCVs with those Zerglings, not unable to really micro his SCVs appropriately and protect them from the from those 2 Zerglings. So good job by Savior on that account. And it looks like something's also going on at the top right. That might just be an Overlord, or else it could be another hatchery going up if he researched drop tech, which would be unusual for a Zerg player here at this early on, but it certainly is a possibility. Savior positioning that Overlord very, very well over the cliff, so he's getting a good scout on whatever reinforcements Nada sends, which is definitely a good play by him. And it looks like Nada is going to go search out the 12 o'clock position and going to see that there's forces there. A couple lurkers also morphing in that area, and they should be enough to clear this out. Savior trying to get a few forces out, trying to get some Zerglings out towards that 12 o'clock position in order to defend it a little bit more adequately and a little bit more strongly before Nada is able to respond and really do too much damage. And this lurker is going to be able to burrow and is going to be able to take down this fire bat more or less very, very quickly. And now come the Zerglings to clean this up, and Savior able to defend this pretty easily. Now it looks like he's setting up a pretty decent contain here, not really throwing up any buildings. The first siege tank has come out now, but Savior has not been allowed to really harass Nada at all, has not really been able to work his way out of his base, and that is a huge problem for him, as Nada did go for that early economic lead, did go for that command center, and also was able, with that early rush, able to do some damage to Savior's economy as well. And to Savior's economy, and Savior able to Nada was able to take down Savior's scouting overlord, so that's going to be another hit towards Savior. He's going to have to use another larva on that. There's the science facility coming up. We saw the starport, of course, already done with the control tower, so we're going to see science vessels very, very soon. And as soon as the science vessel comes out, Nada's going to be able to use his siege tanks to start taking down these lurkers that are at the front of Savior's base. Savior's going to have to come up with something here to try and take down his front and protect it. Otherwise, siege tanks are going to come into play, and that is just not a fun place to be in if you're a Zerg player to be defending. We are seeing a Queen's Nest and a Spire go up, so the Spire is going to be used probably mostly for Scourge to try and take out the science vessels, and then the Queen's Nest is of course going to be for Hive Tech, and we're going to see Savior go to Defilers, which is really what he's highly known for. His Defiler play is quite amazing and has been over and over again in the past when he was really on top of his game in 06 and 07. His Defiler play really defined his Zerg versus Terran skills. His Defiler play was just absolutely epic, and it was really the cause for so many of his victories. And now we're seeing Savior getting out with a few lurkers, finally able to push out just enough to sneak some lurkers out. Might actually be able to at least get some scouting information off. Maybe if he makes those hold lurkers, he might even be able to catch some of the reinforcements for Nada en route towards the front of Savior's base. We do see Nada also out with the dropship and also setting up for an expansion at the bottom left base, and that dropship could be devastating to Savior if he didn't see it coming. He should have seen it with his lurkers, and he really needs to prepare for it. It does look like he is prepared for it with several Zerglings. And now this is Savior's first person point of view. We see the hive going up, and actually that Overlord is barely surviving, and he's setting up a creep colony inside of his his third expansion, and now Nada also looked like he was moving towards the top right. However, Savior does see this coming with a couple Scourges. He's going to be able to take down the dropship. That dropship goes down, and absolutely none of the forces are dropped from that dropship. That dropship taken down. If there were Marines and medics inside of it, they did die as well. And now this science vessel might actually go down to Scourge. No, they do not. Nada able to bring his M&M forces up just in time in order to stop those Scourge from really getting in there, and one of the Scourge goes down. But now we're going to get to see Savior's Scourge play. Savior with his Scourge play is absolutely going to be essential that he takes down these science vessels as often and as efficiently as he can. If the SK Terran build gets going with M&M, tanks, and science vessels, if the science vessel cloud becomes maybe to 6 or 7 science vessels, it just becomes very, very difficult for a Zerg player to do much of anything, as all your defilers are going to get irradiated very, very quickly, especially with a player as good as Nada. The defilers are going to get irradiated, your Ultralisk, when you eventually get there, will get irradiated, and any excess irradiates early on especially are going to go towards lurkers, and it's just very, very devastating for a Zerg player. And then you also have to watch out for eraser tricks where the science vessels irradiate each other and just go for your drone line, so it's a very not a good position for a Zerg player if they allow that science vessel cloud to build up. Though it looks like Savior's going for an attack here on the natural expansion of Nada with a lot of Zerglings and some lurkers as well. Here we go. There are a couple of bunkers there along with M&M forces and a siege tank. We'll see how Nada's able to defend, and those lurkers really need to burrow. They're not very effective against bunkers, but he still needs all the damage they can do. Almost all the Zerglings are down. The first bunker goes down. The second bunker looks like it's going to go down as well, but the siege tank on the ramp might actually be able to hold this and do a lot of damage. And now it looks like Nada's also going towards the natural expansion of Savior, going to try and do some damage there as well. And it looks like both players are trying to exchange blows here, and Nada actually losing that siege tank on the ridge, and it looks like he's going to actually be able to take down the natural expansion of Savior. I'm sorry, of Nada. Nada's natural expansion is going down. Savior also working on Nada's natural expansion, and Savior's natural expansion not looking very good here at all. Savior's natural expansion is under siege. Hydralisks are spawning. There are some lurkers there, but there are science vessels as well. And now the M&M reinforcements of Nada are going to be enough to clear out these lurkers. I think along with that, that siege tank is going to be very, very important as well, doing a boatload of damage to those lurkers. And now we're seeing Nada's lurker splits, marine splits against these lurkers, able to clear out pretty much all of the lurkers, only one left, and that lurker's about to go down. Nada's canal is up, but that also goes down. And now we're seeing Savior in a huge amount of trouble, going to lose his entire natural expansion along with a couple of hatcheries. Those 2 hatcheries is going to be so much production lost, and now it's up to Savior whether or not he's going to be able to hold his ramp. We're putting up some lurker eggs on that ramp just in order to form a block against Nada's forces. But this is so terrible for Savior. Savior is back down to 2 bases, completely losing his natural, completely on the defensive with siege tanks sieging his main now. This is absolutely terrible, and now we're seeing GG from Savior. Savior GG's to Nada. Nada taking the first game. Nada absolutely playing brilliantly there, even though he lost most of his natural expansion, losing most of his SCVs. He's able to counter Savior at the exact same moment and just able to do unrecoverable damage to the Maestro, and Savior goes down here in the first set. Nada takes a 1-0 lead going into the 2 set. The 2 set will be on Destination, which should be a good game here, and Nada takes the early lead. That's going to be very, very critical. Savior on the back foot, going to need to take both remaining games, as this is only a best of 3. Hopefully the rest of the games can be as exciting as this one, and I will see you all in the next set. It's going to be Savior Nada set 2 on Destination.